Let's take a moment to center. Let's do a little check-in with ourselves. And as you find your seat to center in, just really think about the comfortable seat, but also the length through the spine, the lift of the heart. And I've spent a lot of time focusing on the direction of the collarbones these days. So if you think about where your collarbones are, and the tendency, if you are collapsing through your shoulders, for your collarbones to even be drawing a little downward and in, think of lifting through the collarbones enough so that your shoulders get more broad. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. And as you let your eyes be soft or closed, take a couple of deep breaths to allow your breath to help you find more lift and opening through the heart. As you allow that lift and opening through the heart, take a moment to pick a heart quality that you could use a little more of today. Maybe that's compassion, maybe that's joy. Whatever it happens to be, think of that quality and then allow your heart space to be lifted with breath. Hands are coming together at heart center, and as you gently press your palms together, lift the entire rib cage up a little higher. On your exhale, bow towards your heart. Taking that moment to honor yourself for time spent checking in. Then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down and begin to lift up with your shoulders, lift up with your gaze. And take a couple of rolls back with shoulders, noticing that direction of the roll back, the shoulder blades drawing a little down the back as you do this. Shoulder blades are there as a support to help keep your heart elevated. So now, as you lift your shoulders up and back, take your hands to your ribs and physically pick your ribs up higher. And I like a little wiggle here to find even more room, more lift. Keep your ribs lifted, let your hands come down, and then snug your shoulder blades onto your back. Pause here, you can close your eyes if you would like to, but take a moment to fill your ribs up, fill up your lungs, let your heart space be as lifted as possible. And now a little opening through the pecs. Let's take hands behind the back to clasp. And then lift the shoulders up and back again. Press palms together, hug the elbows back. Take a big inhale, and as you lift up through the ribs and the collarbones, you can turn this into a little bit of a back bend if that feels okay to you. But notice where your head and neck are. Keep your neck in line with your spine versus dropping your head back. Take another full big breath, and as you let your heart space lift, also notice the expansion into the back of the heart. And now rising back up, release your hands, and now we'll purposely expand into the back of the heart. So hands clasp in front, pull forward with your arms, round back through the upper back, your chin tucks in, take a big deep breath, and once again, feel that expansion around the shoulder blades, into the ribs, whatever else you're feeling here with this cat-like pose in the upper back. And now inhale, sit tall, and let's take left fingertips to the floor beside us. Reach your right arm up and over the ear, and as you take a little side stretch, let's find a little movement into the rib cage. So Exhaling, draw ribs in, round into the upper back like a cat pose. Find that diagonal reach with your right arm. Inhale, turn it open, expand into the front. Exhale, round in, expand into the back. One more time. Inhale, open it up, and exhale, round in. Inhale now all the way back upright, and then right fingertips to the ground, left arm reaches. Find that distance for yourself for your side stretch and push, expanding more into the side ribs. And now we'll find that expansion into the front and the back of the heart. So as you exhale, find that rounding in of the upper back, reaching in the diagonal. Inhale, open it up, expand through the front. Exhale, round in. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, round in. Then inhale all the way back upright. Let's switch the cross of the legs, coming to perhaps the less comfortable cross. Move your sitting bones. And now walking fingertips behind you just a little ways. Press down with your fingertips and start to lift up and open through the heart space. And even more importantly, think about allowing that squeeze of your shoulder blades. Now notice if by opening up into this back bend, you are also collapsing your belly forward, and tone the low belly, tone the ribs, and then press again. Lift higher with the collarbones. One more big breath here. And then gently bring yourself back upright. And fingertips come to the ground or props in front of you and round into that cat pose. Last time here, find movement through your shoulders this time around to find more length through each side of your back. And then 3 cat-cow breaths. Inhaling, belly and heart move forward, and exhaling, round the back body. 2 more full big breaths. And then sit all the way upright, and we'll take our hands to clasp behind the back side of your head. Press your head back. And as you press your head back, just notice if you have a tendency to splay forward with your ribs here. Open elbows wide and plug in with your shoulder blades. And now engage through the ribs so that your back body is supported. Take an exhale and draw ribs in, even as you keep your head lifted. Now, keep that strong engagement through the ribs and the upper core, and start a little side to side movement here. And as you move side to side, think of lifting through the elbow, staying open through the heart space, even as you're engaging into the ribs and filling into the back body. And now back up to center, releasing your hands. Last time, rolling back with shoulders. And now let's shift forward onto our hands and our knees. And just take a moment to set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then we'll do a few of those movements through our shoulder blades that perhaps we know and love at this point, our scapular push-ups. So find your rotation of upper arm bones, elbow pits turning forward, and push so much into the hands that you expand into the upper back. And it's not about a cat pose in the upper back, but just that expansion so that shoulder blades are broadening away from each other. And now begin to move with your breath, keeping elbows straight. You're inhaling, drawing shoulder blades toward each other, and exhaling, separating them. Inhale together, exhale apart. And as you move with your breath, make a mental note of any places that might feel a little sticky or difficult. One more big breath here. Keeping your head lifted to the back plane of your body, even as you move the shoulder blades. And now, stay expanded into the upper back. We're gonna step right foot forward in between our hands. Locks under hands if you would like. You can tuck your left toes under and inch your back knee back as far as it needs to go. And then not only do we get to get that stretch into the quads behind us, but we're also gonna get a little bit more into the psoas. So bring hands up to hips. And as you come up high into this psoas stretch, we're bending into our front knee, but also pushing down with the left knee to help keep a little lift. Draw back with the right hip a little, draw forward with the left hip a little. As you pull in with your low belly and ribs, also push down with your hands and begin to lift up and open through the heart. Think about letting the collarbones lead the way. Take a full big breath. And now exhaling, both hands come down to the front of your mat and step back onto your hands and knees. Step the left foot forward. Again, tuck your right toes and inch your back knee as far back as your body needs. And now, as you lift up with your hands onto your hips, coming into this psoas version of the stretch, find that centering action with your hips. Find that engagement of the press with your right knee, allowing a little lift through the hip. Then tone the belly, tone the ribs, lift the collarbones. Take a full breath. And then releasing hands back down to the ground, settle back onto your hands and knees, and we're finding that stacked place again, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, rotating elbow pits forward and push to expand into the back of the heart. Tuck toes, lift hips, downward facing dog pose, and take a moment in your down dog to slow pedal. Bend one knee at a time, allowing for a little stretch through the calf muscles, through the hamstrings, maybe a little movement through the hips and low back. One more on each side. And now work your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen, extend your heart. Exhale and fold over your legs. And now hands to hips. As you press back on hips, lift up with shoulders and elbows and then rise all the way to stand. And then we'll take a quad stretch from standing. You're welcome to come over to a wall and face it or stand next to something for your balance. This will be a little bit more of the quad stretch, less of the back bend. We'll come to a back bend in a little bit, but find your balance onto your left leg. Lift your right knee up toward your chest. You can use a strap here. You can slide your right hand down your shin to your foot to bring your foot behind you, or you can simply bend your knee. Bending the knee is sometimes a really nice option to be able to get the length through the quad. So wherever you happen to be, take a moment to notice the opposites. We have a right thigh reaching down. We have a left shoulder that can move further up and back. So from right here, we get that little bit of a back bending action. Now, even out your thighs, hug them in toward each other. Inner thighs move back so much that you might actually feel your glute on the right side hit your heel. Maybe. If not, that's okay. Pull in with the low belly and the ribs. And then stretch even further down through your thigh, up and back through your left shoulder. And then gently release your foot down. Pause for a moment. Simply allow yourself to notice the sensations that are present. As you do so, let your heart be lifted. And then shift over to your right foot, lifting the left knee. Maybe slide your hand down and take a hold of your foot or ankle. Maybe use a strap around your foot. Maybe bend your knee and reach through your thigh without holding the foot. Okay, so wherever that is for you, start to level off your thighs. Notice that the left thigh might want to pop forward or out to the side or wherever it happens to be. See if you can make your thighs parallel. Engage your foot in your hand. And then as you move your inner thighs back, have the intention of sending your glute back toward your heel, not pulling your heel in toward your glute, okay? So now as you engage through the low belly and the ribs, lift the chest, think of opposites. Left thigh reaches, right shoulder opens. Take a big breath. And then gently release the foot down. Pause again, and as you find your mountain pose, opening up through the shoulders, the heart space, notice all the way down in through the feet. Notice the quads, the calves, the hamstrings. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, soft through the knees to fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthening part way, extend your heart. Exhale and fold, bow in. Plant fingertips, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. And from your lunging position, press into the floor with your feet and lift your heart up high. As you center with your hips, clasp hands behind you. Find that big press of palms, lift of your heart. Shoulder blades are hugging onto your back. Create that tone through the core to support the back, even as you bend deeper into your front knee. Now turn and plant your back heel, opening it up into your warrior two. And as you find your warrior two, again, big lift of your heart. Tone through the core. We're going to take a reverse here with more of that heart opening. So extend your heart back, even as you bend into your front knee. Shoulder blades are drawing onto your back. Take another big breath and lift the whole rib cage. Inhale upright and exhale, plant your hands. Step back to a downward facing dog pose. Take a full breath. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Feel free to use knees here if you would like. As you keep your core toned, move your ribs and collarbones more forward. Exhale, bend elbows and lower. Inhale, curl up and open through the shoulders. Start to lift up through the neck and head. Then take a big breath to engage the core. Then inhale, curl up and open a little higher through the heart. Exhale, lower all the way back down. Tuck toes, shoulders are lifted. Take a big exhale and engage the core. And then push back up, whether on knees or whether in a full plank, and then lift hips. Downward facing dog pose. Full big breath. Step your way forward, or if you have a hop in you, you can hop your way forward. Take an inhale and lengthen. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold over your legs. Plant fingertips. Left foot is stepping back this time into your lunge. Root with your feet and lift your heart up high. As you start that clasp, center with your hips. Bend deeper into your front knee. And find the push. Notice the push into your feet. And as you do that, lift your heart up higher. Root down to rise up. Shoulder blades are engaging. Tone through the core. Big inhale. Lead with the collarbones to lift. Exhale, turn and plant your back heel. Open it up into your warrior with your clasp. As you open it up, Lots of lift through your heart, tone through the core, low belly and ribs draw in. And then it's your heart that shifts back. As you find that reverse, you're still bending into your front knee and lifting, but also supporting your back body with your core. Full big breath. Inhale, upright, release the hands and plant them. Tuck your back toes, step back, downward facing dog pose. Take another big breath to lift your sitting bones. And now lower down to your knees, hips back to heels, take a child's pose. As you come to your child's pose, you can settle head on floor, hands, or a prop. Take a big deep breath. Feel free to add a little bit of shifting movement, whatever it is that's needed in your body to help you feel the sensations, feel what's going on. And now let's rise up onto our tall knees. And I'm going to give you some options here. We're going to do a modified version of our camel pose. So you can have a couple of blocks right by your ankles if you would like. Or my favorite version, you can try this if you want, is to tuck toes under and set a bolster over my calves. And then we'll be able to press fingertips into a prop in order to be able to expand. So now from this place, whichever variation you're taking, inner thighs move back. You might even feel them if you have the bolster there. You might even feel them press a little bit back onto your bolster. Hands to your hips. And as you press down into your hips, lift your whole rib cage up. Start to open up through the shoulders. And as you open up through the shoulders, engage the core. Low belly and ribs draw in. You can stay right here with hands at hips, or you can bring your fingertips back to blocks or a bolster, wherever it happens to be for you. Notice inner thighs moving back. Tone the low belly and the ribs. Press with your fingertips if you're there to lift your ribs up. Lift your heart up. Lead with the collarbones. Head and neck stay stable versus dropping back. Take another big inhale and inflate the ribs. Exhale, engage the core. Inhale, tone the core and bring your shoulders back upright. And we're going to set bolster aside if you're using it. And one last time, actually sit hips back first. As you sit hips back, if this is okay with your knees, we're going to take just a moment pressing into the upper thighs to do a little bit of movement side to side rocking. And then we can take our child's pose. So as you bring knees wide, you can work your hands forward as far as you need to go. You can even set a bolster underneath your torso if that would feel really good to you right now. Take a few moments to find the variation of child's pose that helps you to sense and notice what's going on in the body. And now gently pushing yourself back upright, we're going to lay all the way down onto our backs. And as we lay onto our backs, let's draw knees in close, and they can be close narrow or close wide, depending on what feels best in your body today. And then we're rocking a little side to side, just to lengthen the low back. And now extend legs up toward the ceiling with a big bend or a little bend, whatever you need through your knees. And now we're going to flex and point. And as you flex and point, do it slow enough to experience the length through the backs of the legs, length through the fronts of the legs. And now keep a reach through the heels toward the ceiling. And then open legs up wide. And as you open legs up wide, we have hands on the outsides of our legs to help support the legs here if that feels good. You can also set props underneath the legs, but reach out through the heels. And then tilt the sitting bones down. Take a full big breath and just notice for yourself where it is you feel some stretch, where it is you might feel some resistance. And then bring legs back up to center, bent knees, set your feet on the ground, and then take a moment for a free pose of whatever your body is calling for. Maybe windshield wipers or a bridge pose, maybe a happy baby or another spinal twist. Find whatever version of a twist or a stretch that would help your body settle more. And then make your way to some stillness in Shavasana, setting yourself up in any way your body needs. Bring awareness back to your breath. And bring some gentle movement into fingers and toes. As you're ready to, you can bend knees and roll to your side if that feels good. And then use your arms to support you to lift all the way back upright to your seat. As you bring your hands to connect at heart center, take another moment to allow your heart space to be lifted and open. With a full breath, tune into the heart-centered quality that you'd like to bring with you today. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.